Hello! Welcome once again to Voicing Artists Original Characters. Today, we are working with a character named Geli. The artist's name is Geli.Tang. The artist's pronouns are they, he, and she. And they haven't given me any backstory on Geli today, but as you can see, Geli is going to be our first furry character. So to be specific, they are a zombie tanuki plush, and I love this idea. I'm so excited that we are being able to play with a character that isn't human, so it's very fun and exciting, and I can't wait to get into it. I also adore the color scheme on this character. The colors are so bright and fun and inviting, and I love the patterns all over the suit and things like that. And the moth backpack and the color choices for the collars, everything about it is just bright and spunky, and I'm very excited to work with Geli here today. So, I did get some personality traits on Geli, even if I didn't get backstory. So let me give you some personality traits from the artist. Geli is a fast talker. So they're very talkative and they're very expressive when they talk. They tend to have a neutral vocal range, which we've talked about before, getting voice references or voice notes. So a neutral vocal range or androgynous is what the artist would prefer. So we're going to do our best to do that today for them. Geli is also a bit of an overthinker. They're a little anxious. They are very smart, but sometimes they can stumble over their words and they panic if changes happen from what was pre-planned in a scenario. So those are some notes that the artist gave me. I really like expressive and talkative. Fast-talking characters are fun to work with because when we think of them in the first place, we think of somebody who's a little bit spacey, all over the place. They are really excited, they're really energetic, they're very positive, they're inviting, they want to talk to everyone and anyone and communicate all over the place. Normally, that's the character trait that comes with being talkative and being expressive. But in this case, we also have notes that Geli is anxious and Geli gets kind of nervous. And I think if we apply that into the idea that they're still talkative and expressive, we end up with more of a character that talks quickly and talks with their hands and talks in this motion because they're unsure of themselves. They may still be positive, they may still have some energy associated with it, but it's not to engage with everyone around them and to bring more people into their circle. It's more so because they're unsure about what they're saying or if people are actually interested or if they really care or if they're being a burden. All of these anxious thoughts running through their head are making them talk faster and being more physical about it. Some adjectives that I pick up from the drawings are passionate, excitable, restless. That goes with being very expressive and movement-based when they talk. Inviting as well, I think, is important, but all of these in a not too bubbly or too energetic way. Because again, when they're talking about something they're interested in, then they might get into that really excited state where they do want people to listen and they are engaging with people and they are closer to that original idea that we have when we think of fast talkers. But normally, if this isn't the case, we want to remember that that's not their default. Their default is to be a little bit more reserved and someone else needs to open up to them first. So throwing in all these characteristics together is going to be a lot of fun. And I think you can see some of these in the drawings here today. The one that I was talking about with inviting. I think this pose where Geli is standing with their little paws curled up and a little wink, that is so inviting. That's very playful. It's very warm and welcoming. It's engaging in the idea that, yeah, you can come interact with me and let's have a conversation and let's have a fun day and things of that nature. So that's where I get those adjectives from when they are passionate about what they're talking about and when they do want people included and they feel safer in the environment that they're in, they can be more like that. The drawing with Geli in a bunch of outfits. I think this one is also helpful to us because it sort of completes the idea of them being very deeply interested in expressing themselves and showing who they are and wanting to engage with these other people because they're so energetic and talkative and passionate. But since they're too nervous or anxious to do it in a speaking format or in a communicative format. They express it more through what they wear and how they appear. And we do that as people too, where often our outfits are places that we feel comfortable being like, this is something I really like, and maybe if you like these things too, you can come start a conversation with me. And I think that's very evident in these drawings with Geli and their different outfits, especially the alien sweater and the different barrettes and things and the fur. I think it's inviting, and it's a way of being like, oh, if you're kind of into these outfit choices or these colors or these themes, then maybe we can get along without having to actually say that and go through that nervous process of trying to speak to someone. There's one in particular where Geli is with a friend of theirs and they have jack-o'-lanterns or pumpkins, and they're both very excited. They're eating something out of it. I think this is where we can pull from for that happiness that Geli would feel about being able to explore their interests and genuinely feel safe with another person or another animal in this case, where they can talk the way that they talk and act the way that they act and not have to worry about the anxiety that comes with trying to fit in and trying to be accepted. So let's pull from this image and this idea for our happiness emotion. Something about the design with Geli that I think can also help us with these emotions here, especially ones like angry and ones like sad, is if we notice, if we look closely and see the zipper on Geli's suit here, it has the shape of a heart cut out of it. I think that that can lead us to the idea that Geli is the type of character that wears their heart out in the open, on their sleeve, so to speak, although in this case, it's on their zipper. But this ties in because it goes with the idea that they have all this love and positive energy that they want to give to people and to the world and be able to express. But if they're met with that resistance, that feedback, that complete refusal of it, then it can cause these angry and hurtful emotions in them, these sad emotions, this self-dislike because someone else has stomped on their heart that they wear so openly. I think that could be really helpful with those emotions. I just want to take a moment here to talk about this sheet a little more that has the full body designs and a lot of notes on here about Geli in particular. So sheets like these are incredible for actors because it doesn't just give us the design, the colors, the layout, the body posture, the size, things like that, but it also gives us details about their personality in what they wear, in the way they pose, in what they look like. So for example, right, we've got these two collars at the top left. One sort of has these chains on it, and it's like this metallic rainbow, and there's aliens on it, and the other is spiky. It's got these huge metal spikes, but it's not the traditional black collar with the spikes. It is bright pink and purple. And I love these because they tell us a lot about the character without us really realizing it. So what this says about Geli in particular is that they have sort of this punk grunge style. They have sort of this attitude of being an outcast, being different, being a bit pokey with their words and their energy, being a bit abrasive for some people because they can't quite grasp how Geli is, how they interact, why they come off the way that they do. To a lot of average or normal people, Geli comes off as strange through personality, through conversation, through appearance, whatever the case may be. But this resonates for us in things like their outfit choices and these collar designs. And the reason is they're sort of enabling the idea that they do stand out. When you're wearing chains and spikes, it adds to this layer of, oh, maybe I should consider before I speak to that person. It might be a little bit of a defense mechanism where they're like, I don't necessarily want people to speak with me because I'm not necessarily great at conversation. But I think it's more of a, hey, just know that I'm different. Especially with the bright colors added on, the bright colors make the hardness of the spikes and the chains a little softer, a little more welcoming. So it's not full-on black collar with spikes where we might get the impression of, oh, I shouldn't go near them, I shouldn't talk to them or engage with them at all. It's, oh, they're a little weird and a little different, but they're also very inviting. They want to be friends with you. They want to have a good time. They're not out here to be mean and scary and leave me alone. It's just that they have a little bit of a difference in these conversations and in trying to make friends. And I love that we can see that through something like their collar choice and their outfit choice. That's really cool. We also get some other details like their likes and dislikes with boba and spicy food, cuddles and plants, their dislikes being spiders, past memories, and physical touch. These are all things that help us get insight into their mind frame and what they enjoy and what we might be able to tie in with their happy or angry or sad emotions. I also love the outfit choices. They scream the same energy that our collars did. Now, they're a little darker, they have a little less color, but the prints are a little friendlier. So they still work in the same way, where it's outsider, outcast, but kind of inviting at the same time. I also love the colors that are a part of this. They're so vibrant, they're so beautiful, and they're a really cool combo of pink and green. Those are not often colors that we see together. For whatever the case may be, they're odd colors, the same way that jelly might be perceived as odd to the normal person. And I think that just screams to the idea that they are confident in who they are, even if they don't necessarily vocally express it with strength or confidence. They definitely show it in their clothing, and they have it in their color pattern for sure. The other thing I want to say is in a lot of these drawings, we see mushrooms. I think this is really cute. It may be the idea of what mushrooms as a drug could symbolize. I don't want to make that assumption, but especially in this picture with their tongue hanging out and the mushrooms growing on their head, it gives me the almost I'm high and happy and overly excited about things and a little drowsy and a little like, whoa, what's happening? Cool type of energy, especially with the big smile and the tongue and sort of the glazed over eyes combined with these glowing mushrooms. And I like that idea because it's telling us that there are times when jelly just feels laid back and comfortable and very okay to be this person who is just enjoying life and enjoying their surroundings and taking everything with a grain of salt and letting things fly off their back instead of being more nervous and anxiety and particular about things. The last piece I want to note is this big old banner with all of Geli.Tang on it. I adore the colors in this. I've said it a bunch, but it's so vibrant. It's very psychedelic. It exudes this energy of hopping and being the center of attention and expressing their love and happiness and peace be with everyone and excitement towards certain things in color format. Some people do it vocally. We know that's not Jelly's thing. Some people do it in their body language. We don't need verbals. They do it in a non-verbal way. Some people do it in their outfit choices. Jelly is very much the character that has it in their color scheme. And that's brilliant on the artist for this character to realize that they can express some of those inner feelings and inner personality traits of Jelly by changing the different colors that exist in Jelly and in the background and in their name in general. So, with all that in mind, let's create a neutral line for Jelly here. We want something that maybe is a little quick, but also has their personality of a little bit of nerves and a little bit of excitement mixed together. So let's see what we can do.
Hi. My name's Jelly. I like boba, and I really like spicy food. And I'm into plants. I can tell you about all the species of the rainforest if you want to know. There's a bunch, and they're really, really, really cool. But I don't have to talk about it if you don't want me to. That's totally fine.
I really enjoy that for Jelly. I think we hit the neutral voice, the androgyny very well, just from a technical standpoint. But I think personality-wise, we managed to capture that nervous positivity. Because sometimes when we try and do anxiety, it can feel really negative and it can feel really stressful. And that doesn't always have to be the case. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. You can be nervous because you want to make friends rather than you think someone isn't going to like you. And I think in Jelly's case, that's generally the vibe, is they're nervous because they don't necessarily know how to interact, but they want to get along and they want to have friends. So that's where that balance happens. And I think we did that very well. So let's move on to that happy emotion. And what would make Jelly happier than giving them that friend they want? So let's have them talking with someone who is interested in one of these topics that Jelly loves with their heart and soul. And so Jelly just keeps talking and babbling and getting really excited and going in depth on this topic because they have somebody that they made friends with that really wants to know. And I think we throw that in for their happiness and that will work perfectly.
Doesn't it taste great? I love spicy food. You know, all different cultures use all different kinds of spices in their food. Some people are more jalapeno based, some people are more ghost pepper based, but you know it'd be really cool to try a food that's not usually spicy. Like ice cream. I wonder what a spicy ice cream would taste like.
Yes, that was so much fun for Jelly. Oh, it's so great when these characters that have a little bit of that anxiety and nervousness in their neutral state can just be released and set free to experience pure joy and happiness. And Jelly was able to do that, just feeling comfortable with this other person and talking about all their interests in these types of foods and culture and wouldn't it be cool to do this and that? And I'm so glad we got to give that to Jelly because they deserve it. So let's do the other emotions. Let's pull into angry here. What would make Jelly angry? Now, with characters that tend to have nervousness and anxiety as a neutral state adjective, it can be really difficult to do anger. When someone who is naturally anxious feels upset and gets into a situation where they are made upset, they usually go straight to sadness or grief or misery or anguish. All of these emotions that are closer towards sadness is usually where they go 99% of the time because it ties in with the idea of self-loathing and feeling like maybe you're the problem, and all of those tie back into each other with anxiety and with nervousness. So it's really hard to reach the angry side of a character who has these traits because they don't often feel like they are slighted. They will almost always think they are the problem before they think someone else did them wrong. So we need to put Jelly in a situation where Jelly can feel like they are actually on the wrong end of whatever is occurring so that they can be angry. I think in order to make Jelly angry and go into more of those emotions, I think we need to take the idea that maybe Jelly has set some boundaries. Maybe they've been vocal about the fact that certain things make them nervous, or they don't want to be touched, or they don't want to talk about certain things, and someone who knows this keeps violating that in whatever way, shape, or form it is occurring. And I think Jelly would be fed up to the point where it's happened enough, and they're like, you need to stop. So I think that's where we're going to go with angry for Jelly. So let's roll with it.
No! Okay, just stop it! How many times do I have to tell you? Please, I can't do this anymore.
I think that works for Jelly. It's not a lot of intricate or intensive or elegant language, but I don't think Jelly would use that kind of thing. I think for when a character is naturally nervous, their anger overwhelms them. So they get to a point where they can't think enough to really explain themselves. All they can vocalize is just stop. Like, stop doing the thing. I need you to stop. You need to stop. That's it. That's it. No. Like, that's all that they can function at that moment. So I think that works well for Jelly. And I think we embodied that in that angry line. And it also took a little bit of that nervousness, that unsureness, and threw it in there. Because it wasn't angry that you might see in some characters where they're rageful and they're like yelling and they're forceful about, you need to stop doing this thing. Because again, they're too nervous for that. So this emotion is overtaking them to the point where they're just trying to say anything to get it to stop. And that's their version of angry. So I like that. So let's do our last one here. Let's go for sad. What would make a Jelly sad? I think Jelly would be sad if they got shut down when they were trying to open up. I think Jelly is so reserved 24/7 and has all of this energy and this love and this passion and this need to express themselves inside of them that they want to get it out there. And so when they finally are able to go against their anxiety and take that step and try to put it out there and meet new people and express themselves, if someone were to shut that down, I think that would make them genuinely upset and mournful of the fact that they aren't wanted in the space that they're trying to join. So let's throw that onto Jelly and let's try sad.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to... I thought that maybe if... I'll just go. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's so hurtful. It hurts your heart when you have to do that to a character that just wants to love and be loved in return. You have to cut them off and be the one to imagine that they were told they're worthless. Ugh, hate doing that. But I did think that it got us to the right place for where Jelly feels sad and goes into that sort of no one wants me mentality that can cause that emotion. All right, so that is us playing with Jelly today. I think it was a wonderful time. Thank you very much to Geli.Tang for letting us get to play with our first ever furry character. Very happy about it. Don't forget to go and follow them in the description below. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you on the next episode in this series. Goodbye!